In order to improve your speaking skills, you don't need to have a speaking buddy or a foreign teacher. In fact, there are many ways you can improve your speaking on your own at home. In this video, I'm going to share some useful techniques that you can use to improve your speaking, and I'm especially motivated to share them with you because this is how I have improved my own speaking, and I'm positive these techniques will be useful for you too. Hey guys, this is Rustam from Ace IELTS. I've created this channel to help you and support you on your IELTS prep journey. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please do consider to do so. There will be a lot of valuable content coming out soon. In this video, I'm going to share with you some of my favorite and effective techniques that will help you improve your speaking without needing a speaking buddy or a foreign teacher. Okay, let's get started. And here's way number one: read and retell. To be able to produce the language, first of all, you need to receive some input, right? So you need to learn some words and phrases, as well as see how these words and phrases can be used in different contexts before you can start applying them in your own speech. So a lot of my students often complain that they say that they know many words, but they can't use them in speaking. A familiar feeling, isn't it? Well, one of the reasons for this is they don't know how to use those words. They also don't know how these words can be used in different contexts. They simply don't feel the words. When you read and retell, you're not only learning words, but you're also reproducing them. In other words, you are trying to use them in your speech. And this is what you need to improve. Reading and retelling is a simple but quick way to improve. All you need is to find articles on different topics, on the topics that you like reading about. So you need to read actively. This is important. What does it mean to read actively? This means you read and highlight the keywords, learn new words, make some notes. You are interacting with the text. Then, without looking at the article, but by using some notes, you need to try to retell the main idea. So, simply talk about the text. Imagine that you are talking to your friend, telling them about this article. So, what is it that your friend needs to know about this article? It's also important that as you retell the text, make sure you use some of the keywords, some of the new words that you've learned from the text. This is very important because you want to improve, right? You want to start using this vocabulary. So make sure you apply the words you've learned in your speaking. Now, the benefits of retelling are many. First, you develop your speaking fluency if you do this on a regular basis. This is the most important benefit, isn't it? Second, you enrich your vocabulary because you're exposed to new words constantly. 3, you learn how to actively use new vocabulary. This is very, very important because many students, like I said, know words, their passive vocabulary is rich, but they don't know how to produce them. And benefit number 4 is you also learn new ideas, right? By reading authentic texts, you're exposed to different ideas, right? So you learn these ideas that you can start applying and using them, that you can start using in your actual speaking or writing, maybe when the time comes to take the test. On to way number 2, listen and retell. Very similar to what I said before, but this time you practice retelling what you hear. In other words, you can listen to a podcast or a video, for example. You can watch a video and then retell what you've heard about. Like with reading, you need to listen actively. This means that you need to listen actively for any new words. You need to notice intonation changes and pay attention to the pronunciation. This is very important. Pronunciation is 25% of your score, right? So all of this will make you a better speaker overall. Way number 3, you can start recording yourself. If you haven't yet tried recording yourself while speaking in English, I'd strongly recommend you start doing this. Guys, I can't emphasize this enough. If you want to achieve quick results, I would strongly recommend you start recording yourself. You could record your voice only or both, voice and video. This is an excellent way to develop your speaking skills and become a more confident speaker. Recording yourself is also an excellent way to improve your pronunciation. Not many people pay attention to pronunciation. So if you record yourself, you can then re-listen to your recordings and notice how you're pronouncing certain words. Notice if you're using correct intonation, if you have maybe too many pauses. So you can try to understand why you pause and maybe find ways to remove those pauses and hesitations. All of this will make you a more confident and fluent speaker. You can also record yourself answering IELTS speaking questions. Well, find IELTS speaking questions, and if you don't know where to get them from, check the Google Doc that I've put in the description under this video, where I've created a list of common IELTS speaking questions. So, what you can do with this, basically, answer the questions and record your answers. Then, when you listen to your answers, I'd like you to pay attention to the following 4 things. Thing number 1, fluency. Fluency is basically your ability to speak naturally, without long pauses and hesitations, right? So, as you listen to your own recording, notice the length of your answers. Do you develop your answers? Do you sometimes give examples, or do you always give short answers? Do you often have long pauses, maybe hesitations? Do you always say, rather than saying, try saying, well, or, Thing number 2, I'd like you to notice vocabulary. Do you use enough topic-specific vocabulary when answering questions? This is an important question you need to keep in your mind. If you don't know what topic-specific vocabulary is, watch my video in which I explain what it is and how to improve your vocabulary. I'll attach the link to that video in the description below. Also, check if you effectively paraphrase. Do you use the same words as the questions, as the examiner uses in the questions? Remember, you don't want to use exactly the same words as the examiner uses. You want to paraphrase them. 3. Notice your grammar. Do you use a range of tenses? Do you always use simple structures? Or do you mix them with more complex structures? For example, rather than using short sentences like, I live in Istanbul and Istanbul is a crowded city, I could say, I live in Istanbul, which is a crowded city. You could also use linkers such as although and despite to make complex sentences. For example, I could say, although Istanbul is a very crowded city, I find it... Although Istanbul is a very crowded city, I find the people warm and friendly. And finally, I'd like you to notice your pronunciation, right? Check if you're pronouncing the individual words correctly. If you're not sure whether your pronunciation is correct or not, check the pronunciation in an online dictionary. Any online dictionary gives you an option to listen to the pronunciation, right? Any good online dictionary can give you this option. However, to achieve a high score for pronunciation, you should also be able to use your intonation appropriately. You need to vary your intonation. In other words, your intonation needs to go up and down, and you should not sound monotonous. This also includes stressing the important words in your answers. For example, how about this? What if I read this sentence with this intonation? The food that we tried in that restaurant was absolutely amazing. Now, what if I said, the food that we tried in that restaurant was absolutely amazing? Do you notice the difference? So, you need to have right intonation if you want to get a good score on pronunciation. Okay, in this video, I've shared several tips on how you can develop your speaking skills at home without needing a teacher or a speaking buddy. All of these methods are my personal recommendations. I have tried all of these ways to improve my own speaking skills, and they all work. So, if you have no speaking buddy or a foreign teacher, stop complaining. Try one or all of the methods that I have talked about in this video. Make it a habit, and I can almost guarantee your speaking will improve. If you liked this video, subscribe to my channel for more valuable content. Cheers. Good luck.